This video is intended to show you how to enter note cards in NoodleTools. I have already entered my source information. Now there are two ways in which you can go about entering note cards. I'm going to show you the easiest and best practice. Over here on the left-hand side is the number of note cards that are attached to my source. And right now there are none because I just entered this source information. Next to that is a hyperlink. It says New. If you select it, a note card dialog box appears. There are simply 5 pieces of information that you need to enter on a note card. I'd like you to enter the title. I'd like you to enter the source. I'd like you to enter the direct quotation, the paraphrase or summary, and the My Ideas. Let's take each one slowly. The title is meant to give the card a title and should be based on the section of text that you intend to focus on. In my instance, I've selected this piece of text from my article, which focuses on the problems that could arise when using cell phones in a classroom. Remember, my topic was, should cell phones be used in school? So I think that's actually kind of a good title for this card. So I'm going to use that. Problems okay. Now, since we've entered the note card or started the note card from the works cited source, it already appears in this box. This is a drop-down menu, and you need to be very careful to make sure that the proper article is attached to the note card. In the direct quotation box, what you want to do is capture the author's words and image. You get the quote directly from the article, and then you paste it here. I'm going to use the shortcut. Now that it appears here, you can actually use all of these tools up here to go through and annotate it, but since you probably already annotated it, that's not necessarily something you need to do. All right, so I've read and reread and understand this section very well. Now I come over here to paraphrase or summary. This is where, in your own words, you explain what the quote says. This quote here, you look back at it, make sure that you provide a decent summary of the quote. Let me go ahead and do that. Oh. Oh my, look at the spelling errors. There we go. Okay, so now I've entered a paraphrase in my own words of what this quote says. I've summarized it. Now I'm thinking about this text and thinking about this piece of text. Now it's time for my ideas. This is my original thinking. This is essentially my think space. This is where I figure out how this fits in with my claim. I figure out if there's anything that I wonder about, if there's anything else that I can research to be thorough in my project. Now, I like to use bullets in this section. You can use them, you can choose not to, that's up to you. However, now that I'm thinking about it, I want to focus on, let's see, this might be good for a counter argument. The other thing I might think about is I wonder so this second part, maybe I'll go and research some classroom policies regarding technology. Okay, so I've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes, and that's really it. That's all you really need to enter. Now, you'll notice a few things. Number one, the URL does appear. Remember, that's to the home page, so it won't link directly back to your article, but at least will take you in the right direction. The page number, since you're using a database, predominantly, you're not going to necessarily have a page number. The only other thing that you might want to do is you might want to get into tagging. You don't have to start out by tagging, but you can end up tagging. And tagging is kind of a lot like hashtags. You kind of take a keyword or a 2-word phrase and you attach it to the note card so that they're easier able to organize. Okay? I actually have some tags already made up here. I know that this one shows some policies of a teacher, so I'm going to add that. I'm also going to add management because it does talk about phone management within a classroom. And so those 2 tags I think are best used here. When I'm done, all I have to do is simply save and close. And you'll now notice that my 0 has turned to 1 because I have 1 new note card. Now, in the beginning of this video, I told you that there are 2 different ways to enter note cards. This is probably the best policy because you are directly attaching it to your source, which is so important when you do research. You want to make sure you don't lose sight of where you got the information from. If you want to enter it directly into the note cards section, you can do that as well. You simply come up here to the top left-hand corner and you click New, and you get the same dialog box. The big difference here is that your source is not already selected for you. So you have to use that drop-down menu in order to select the source. And that should be the first thing that you do if you enter note cards from this section. Then you can go through and do the title, copy and paste your direct quotation, do your paraphrase in your own words, and then fill out what you think about that excerpt. Again, tags are optional, and the more you enter, the more will appear in your drop-down menu. If you'll notice here, now I've got 2 new note cards on the tabletop. The one blank one that I entered, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that one, which I can't do from here. I'll do that later. And the one that we made together. Now, as you hover your cursor over the note card, you can see that a pop-up box appears, so you can see the information, not all of it, at a glance. Okay. This is your entire tabletop. Those little squares there represent your note cards, and as you move this little blue box around, they seem to disappear, but they really are still there. If you want to get rid of this, you can just simply collapse it. And if you would prefer to look at a detailed view, you can select Detail, and now you've got unpiled note cards here that you can take a look at. You can easily access them to edit them from here. Anyway, that's all you need to know about how to insert note cards into your projects. I hope this helps.